In 2013, Troma released Return to Nuke 'Em High Volume 1. This was the fourth film in the Nuke 'Em High series. It would take a few more years, though, before Volume 2 could come out because Troma ran out of money and had to do a Kickstarter campaign to finish it. But finish they did. Welcome to Exploitation Reviews, and me, Rob, and today I'm taking a look at Return to Nuke 'Em High, aka Volume 2 from 2017. I'm skipping the first Return to Nuke 'Em High film because I don't like it nearly as much as I like this one. And if you haven't seen that one, I wouldn't worry too much because at the beginning of this film there is a recap that catches you up, so you can just jump right in with this one. But I do recommend watching the original Class of Nuke 'Em High from 1986. There are a number of callbacks to that film in this one, and plus the original one is a classic Troma film. You should definitely watch it. Anyway, let's get to this one. We open on an homage to the Brian De Palma classic Carrie. It's a slow-mo walkthrough of a girl's locker room. There are a few differences here, of course. One, everyone is naked in the Troma version, and two, Carrie was filmed in the 1970s before razors had been invented.
I can't believe you, Rob.
So immediately, we are right into territory that's not really safe for YouTube. But of course, we don't have to stay here. You can now support the channel on Patreon for $1 a month, upgrade to $3 a month, and get access to uncensored versions of my reviews. The link is in the description, and your support is very much appreciated. Anyway, the Carrie homage continues with many shots from Carrie being recreated here in that Troma way. And we eventually land on our main gal Lauren, here played by the lovely Catherine Corcoran. Viewers of this channel might recognize her from the film Terrifier. She was the one that got split down the middle by Art the Clown. Ugh. Here, her belly starts to grow and all kinds of radioactive blood and gunk shoots out of her and onto all of the other girls in the locker room. But again, all of these girls are naked and blood doesn't count as clothing, so you're gonna have to use your imagination if you're watching this video on YouTube. The scene ends with a title card and then a familiar voice recounts the events of the previous movie.
Hey, what's going on? What's going on? If you don't know, you should have seen Volume 1. At any rate, here's a refresher course, your crib notes.
That's right, Stan the Man Lee is in this movie. Excelsior. Then there's some really nice artwork over the retelling of the first movie, but again, a lot of the artwork is not really suitable for YouTube. Sorry. So our main story here revolves around the Troma Organic Foodstuffs Company. They are trying to get their food served in high schools across the world. This is problematic because this company has set up shop in the old nuclear power plant and their food is radioactive. Eating the food has various side effects. It might make you melt, it might make you explode, or it might mutate you into a violent punk here in the Nuke 'Em High world called a cretin. The Cretans played a much bigger role in the previous film. Here, their role has been thankfully reduced. And I say thankfully because in that first Return to Nuke 'Em High movie, they kind of sing a lot, and I didn't really find any of that funny at all. The other important character in this here picture show is the girlfriend of the gal we met in the shower. Christy, here played by Asta Paredes. That's right, this movie has hot lesbians in it, and they even do some hot lesbian stuff that I won't be able to show you.
Man, I just work here.
Plot-wise, Christy is trying to expose the food company and their corrupt partnership with the school. Back in the locker room, Lauren gives birth to a duck.
What?
And over at the Foodstuffs Company, Kevin the Duck, who is somewhat responsible for the duck that Lauren just had in the locker room, he gets dipped into a vat of nuclear waste. We'll see more of him later. In a hilarious retconning, we get to learn a bit more about who the president of this Troma Organic Foodstuffs Company really is.
Chrissy, maybe tonight I won't use a condom, because that way we might have an illegitimate child who just might turn out to be a lesbian.
But he's not doing too well these days because the stuff he's been using to keep young has ran out, and now he's starting to transform into something. He heads up to the school to re-up his supply. The Cretans, meanwhile, have kidnapped Lauren and brought her to the school as well. So, will our lesbian heroines be able to expose this evil corporation? What's going to happen with the Cretans? What kind of monster is the president of that corporation turning into? And what happened to that duck? Well, that's enough out of me as far as plot goes. Let's talk some highlights. Well, this is a Troma movie through and through, and how much you like it depends a whole lot on how much you like offensive jokes, bloody violence, and lots of nudity. You'll probably love it.
I love violence. I positively adore it.
And I know the word bonkers gets thrown around a lot these days, but this movie really is bonkers. The plot barely holds this thing together because the film is constantly in a mad rush to get to the next crazy scene. And there are so many crazy scenes in this movie. There's stuff here that'll make your jaw drop either because it's so wildly offensive, or gross, or super hot. It's a Troma movie. And in all of this madness, the cast here are clearly having a great time. The leads are wonderful, but there's also a great performance from Babette Bombshell as the principal, and Lloyd himself is hilarious, particularly during some of the fourth wall breaking scenes, including a really great one with his wife Pat.
And you think that you need all this sex and all this violence and all these movies and all this other stuff in order to make a good movie, and you don't need it.
But despite all that, I wouldn't say the film is perfect. Like a lesbian couple celebrating the birth of their duck baby, this film has some shortcomings. Well, as funny as this movie is, not every joke works. Personally, I stopped thinking fart jokes were funny around the time I turned 7. Lloyd Kaufman is like 80, and he never stopped thinking fart jokes were funny, and there are a ton of them in this movie. They're even worked into the plot of the movie.
But what many people don't know is that inhaling the farts of high school students who have been exposed to our patented nuclear tacos has been shown to reverse the aging process.
Alright, you do you, Lloyd. There's also a lot of fourth wall breaking and references to other Troma films in this film, and if you haven't seen all of these Troma films, some of these jokes might not exactly work for you. I have seen all of the classic Troma films, so the jokes all worked for me, but your mileage may vary. Overall, though, this is a Troma movie. They ain't for everyone, but if you like the movies that I talk about, you'll probably like this.
The more repulsive, the better I like it.
Troma makes exploitation films in the classic sense of exploitation films. These are do-it-yourself, independent movies that promise and deliver loads of sick violence and shameless nudity. And it's all in the very worst of tastes. Troma knows exactly what their audience wants, and that's exactly what they deliver, which is probably why they're the longest-running independent film studio in America. And let that be a lesson to you indie filmmakers out there. Nobody wants to see your inept film. Hollywood puts a lot of inept films out every year with great production values. But people will show up for your trashy film. So take that money you're going to spend on a new camera that you don't need and instead buy some more blood and pay some actresses to take their tops off.